Amputations. There are two main reasons for the amputations. Yes. First reason is when we have problems with blood vessels. First type of problems. The most common, generally, amputations performed are because of the diabetes and smoking. Yes, it's sad. But diabetes and smoking leads to really most of the amputations in developed countries in normal situations, of course. I do not say about the war time or things like that. The second thing are the traumas. Yes. So, for example, some car accidents, other things like that. Also some assaults. There may be a lot of different causes of traumas, but these are the main two things that is happening. Generally, amputations of the lower limbs are far more common than the amputations of the upper limbs. For example, the vasculature of the lower limbs is not pure generally. The vessels that are getting to the lower limbs are not as effective in supplying enough blood to the limb as it is in the upper limb. Simple. Also, the lower limb is bigger and longer, so it's also harder to manage. Okay, but theoretically speaking, you can think about amputations and say, oh, this is a very extremely sad situation, extremely inconvenient, but nothing to talk about. Yes, because we just lost part of our limb. It's partially true. At least it was true decades ago. But now there are a lot of things that you can help with. And there are also some problems that are far better understood than previously. So first of all, there is something called phantom pain. This was intended to be ghost as as a visualizing of the phantom. Never mind. So, what is the phantom pain? Phantom pain is a situation that the patient has lost his limb, yes, and still feel pains in the lost part. So, for example, he lost his leg and still feel pains in the toe. Yeah, the phantom pain can be really severe and problematic. Why it is happening? We already talked something about this when we were talking about the peripheral nerves. Generally, when we have a nerve and this nerve is cut, the distal part of the nerve would die. It would get to the cell body, to the neuronal body, and then the neuronal body would try to regrow it. But if we do not have any limb to go to, this neuron would just create neuroma. Of course, not always, but it can create neuroma. So we have some sensor neurons that were created in order to get information about pain from a toe, for example, but they did not reach the place of destination. They created some pathological structure. And this pathological structure, when activated, would do what it should, theoretically. So it would conduct information about pain in the toe. For example, of course, toe is just the example, to the brain. And because of this pathology of anatomy of the neuroma, yes, so it's convoluted, it's not straightforward and so on, it is extremely easy to activate it. And this is one of the pathology that may lead to this phantom pain. Of course, there is also psychological thing, some other neuronal pathways, never mind, but generally this is one of the things that leads to the phantom pain. Okay. What else is important? Of course, what is mainly changing now are the possibilities of prostheses. Prostheses are far more efficient than they were. You were learning far more about it on the medical devices, so I will not delve into details, but generally you have this passive and active prostheses that are helping us to increase the abilities of the disabled, generally speaking. And one more thing that you need to consider. It was also, I suppose, done on the medical devices. However, when after amputation, yes, there may be a lot of problems. They may be, for example, edema. There may be some problems with the wound at the end of the amputated limb, and so on. This is especially pronounced in case of the diabetes, yes, or in the heavy smokers, because their vessels are not working as they should. So, and this end of the limb needs to be formed. What does it mean, formed? It means that after prosthesis would be worn, this end of the limb will need to hold all of the body mass, if you are talking about the lower limb. In case of the upper limb, it also needs to be quite strong. Yes, it needs to have strong muscles there. It needs to be healthy. And it also is hard job to walk with this. A bit more would be in the presentation, but I'm just highlighting the most important topics. Okay, thank you very much.